My name is Troy Robert Presley Lambrecht. Yeah, I have two middle names. I'm from Michigan, United States. My hometown is a metropolitan city, lots of shopping malls. Basically everything that you see is shopping. There's really no countryside. If you know where Detroit is, it's outside of Detroit, about 40 minutes north. Kind of, it's a big town, but there's not really much going on. Same old stuff. I think the one thing that I miss the most is being able to cook the foods that I want. It's quite difficult to find certain ingredients in Korea for American dishes. So probably the food, I would say, but I really love Korean food anyway, so it doesn't make it too difficult to find something to eat, but I do miss certain dishes, yes. Well, as I mentioned before, my hometown was kind of boring. There was a lot of stuff to do, but I was just kind of bored with all of those things to do. I had met a friend in college, he was Korean, and he had told me once, hey, you should go to Korea and teach, and didn't really think about it too much, but I did construction after I went to university, and then kind of got bored with that and decided to go get my teaching certification and came to Korea. Sort of just one of those on the whim things, out of the blue. I just was like, I remember my friend told me that there's teaching positions in Korea, and then just kind of built on that. Yeah, I was just kind of bored at home.
Fair.
This is my 6th year. Yeah, 6 years. So not too long compared to some. Oh man, I mean, I could name hundreds of things. I think it's just the way that, I wouldn't say just business is handled, but sort of the way people are told things. Americans tend to tell people directly. If there's a problem or you need something done, we just go to the person and we say, hey, you need to do this, get it done by so-and-so, or this date or whatever. Koreans tend to, in my opinion, they tend to sort of beat around the bush or tell someone else to tell you. They don't really go to you directly. So if someone wants to tell me in Korea, they might tell the manager, and then the person below the manager, and then they tell me. So communication differences, of course, just the way managing is handled, but overall I think you get used to it. A lot of people might assume food, but actually food is my number one thing. I adjust really well to that. I think it's just communication differences. I think, as I mentioned in the last question, being able to express your opinion in a direct manner, as opposed to kind of being hush about it. I didn't really have too many expectations when I came to Korea. I didn't really make a list, or I didn't really think about, this is what I want out of Korea, or this is what these are my goals. But I think that what I have experienced has been, once in a lifetime opportunity. Not many people get to go to not just Korea, but different countries. They never leave their hometown. So I think that being able to go abroad, work in a different country, meet a lot of different people, learn a new language. I met my wife here, so I didn't expect that. It's difficult at times. I wouldn't say it's bad at all. It's by far from horrible, or a lot of people don't want to move, or they're scared of going somewhere else where the language that they know is not spoken fluently. But for the most part, I think that being in Korea has been great as a foreigner. You can still find those conveniences if you search them, if you look for them. I don't think Americans really have a bad rap, because we have military bases around, so Americans have been in Korea for 50, 60 years. I think that Americans probably have the easiest time out of, I guess you'd say, all of foreigners. But I think generally Korea has been pretty, comforting and, hospitable to foreigners and Americans, I should say. Yeah. So I haven't really had too much discrimination. There's been a couple times where I wasn't allowed in certain places, like clubs or something, like no foreigners in the clubs, probably because there was some incident that happened in the past. But I haven't really experienced any discrimination, really. I've gotten some odd stares, as usual. I mean, probably everyone has. Best thing that happened? As I mentioned before, I met my wife here. Not expected. It just randomly met my wife at a bar on Halloween, which is coming up, by the way. So I would say that meeting my wife was the best thing that happened. Sort of spontaneous thing that happened when I went to the bar. I didn't plan on going, I just went, and then, a serendipitous moment, I guess you'd say, yeah. No, even though there are certain things I don't really like, Korea is Korea. It's their own culture, it's their own way of doing things, and I have to accept it. I can't change it. I can think about changing it, but it's not my place to do that, because it'd be the same if someone came to America and started changing things that we've been doing for hundreds of years. So. Well, I've been here for 6 years. It doesn't seem like quite a long time, but I'm only 30, so it's actually a large chunk of my time on Earth here. When I was younger, when I came here when I was 24, I think that I had a little bit more energy when I was younger. I used to go out a lot, used to party. Now that I've settled down and I've been married for 2 years, my sort of lifestyle has changed in terms of what my priorities are. Can't go out every night, or go up to Seoul every weekend. I have a wife to take care of. I think I've just sort of stepped back from being a child in a way. I've really grown into being an adult in some ways. I still like to go out and hang out with my friends, but for the most part, having a wife is a big priority and big responsibility. For those of you that aren't married, whoever is watching this, when you get married, things change drastically. So one of the things is taking care of my wife, whether it's making dinner, cleaning the house or apartment or whatever. Well, being in Korea has its own responsibilities, as a teacher as well. Things that have changed are really just, going from my early 20s to my 30s now. There are certain things that don't interest me anymore. I still like to go out and, party or drink with my friends, but I don't do that every weekend, as I was when I first came to Korea. So I used to go up to Seoul every weekend and go to the clubs and stuff, but now I can't ever imagine doing that. So. As a young male, when I first came, I thought I was sort of invincible. When you're younger, you think that you can do everything. And of course, it was fun. when I was young to go out every weekend and do all those things. But I think that I've learned to appreciate people more. I think that I've come to know a lot of different cultures just by seeing new people. Like, we work with a lot of people from different countries. Yourself, you're from Canada. I know it's not too far from where I'm from, but I mean, there's certain things that you tell me, or, you know, Jillian. But I think I've learned a lot through different people as well. And being able to appreciate differences, I think. But I think you start to see the world in a different viewpoint or focus lens, or whatever you want to say, when you travel, definitely. That America is not the only place in the earth. I think Americans have a very jaded view, or a very small window of what they see. Americans tend to think that America is the best. America's the greatest country in the world. And really, it's not. You know, we have a huge presence across the globe, but I don't think that America is the best country. We have a lot of opportunities, but there are certain things where living here in Korea, I would, you know, definitely want to take back with me, but I can't. So, yeah, I think I tend to focus more on politics when I don't live there, because the election's coming up with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So I've been paying attention to that. I don't try to focus on it too much, but I think what you hear in America is completely different outside of America. Yeah. Everyone asks me, "Oh, what about North Korea? Are you scared of North Korea?" Because it's sensationalized in the media. And here in South Korea, we don't really care at all. So I have a lot. I have a lot of interesting stories. Most of them involve drinking. I don't want to say specifically just one that I had. I think Korea, the 6 years that I've been living here, has been one giant story of just sort of being exposed to new things, learning a different language, meeting new people. It doesn't encompass, you know, one story doesn't encompass my experiences here. And I would say if I had any story to tell someone, I would say that traveling and working and living in a different country is probably the best story that you can live out. My apartment. Yeah. There's a lot of good places in Korea. Jeju, we're in Jeju right now, so I mean, Jeju is a really great place to be. It's not warm, but it's still a great place to, you know, get away from your hometown of Gyeongju, I guess you'd say. And this may be a weird answer, but not being comfortable. As a foreigner, we have to deal with a lot of things that don't make us comfortable, make us uncomfortable. And when we get too comfortable, I think that we get a little bit lazy. We're constantly trying to learn. Korea has constantly made me question things, seek out new answers, make me try to become a better person. So I think that being comfortable makes us a little bit less aware in some ways. We take things for granted more. Here in Korea, there are certain things I can't do, so it makes me appreciate them more when I do get to do those things.